Hey everyone, so working on the shifter today, putting it back together. What little time I had on this tractor, the one time I drove it around, the shifter pulled out. So this bottom snap ring, which I'll show you the order of things here in a minute. This bottom snap ring groove was kind of, I guess you could say, ate up on the bottom and almost like chamfered, so that the snap ring really didn't have a good seat in there. I'll show you a picture here in a second of what was this groove, and what I consider still a good groove on the right. So to clean this up, I may regret it, but we'll see. I actually took a cutting wheel on a grinder, and I just went around this and cut a little bit more of a defined groove to hopefully get this snap ring. I have a new one I'm about to slide on here, but wanted to take the video first. That hopefully that'll seat against that, and it won't basically have a tapered surface that it'll just come out freely. I'll show you kind of an order of things once I start to get this snap ring in there. These snap rings, I should mention, you can't just start down here and pinch them over. You will snap them. You've got to start at the top and work your way down, and you gotta snap into this groove, then you gotta get it out and slide it down into here like it is, and I gotta open it up and get it back down to here. Okay, so sadly this really doesn't fit as tight as I would like it to, but it may give me trouble in the future. I don't know. I may have to get like a tighter E-clip. Somebody had this apart before, and here I think they still had this snap ring, but like up here they still had, or they were using one of these. Anyway, so these snap rings that I've been using, same thing here and what's used up here. The same snap ring, they're used on the B and I think the A. They're cheap, just a couple bucks, a few bucks, $5 a piece or so. But anyway, so the terrible part to this is to get this out. Unless you get creative, you got to take the steering shaft out of the tractor, which, if you remember, takes you take the crown off, take the steering wheel off, turn the wheels. I think it's all the way to the left, and then once you take that end cap off, turn your steering wheel to the right, and it threads the steering rod out. Get that out, and you can unbolt this and take this off. So you have to do that because as it sits now, so with this snap ring on, and this ball here comes up through the bottom, comes up through here. I gotta clean that up a little bit. And then from there you've got this piece, kind of a cap. You got a washer, spring, a washer, and this top snap ring goes in here. So I believe you have to compress this a little bit in order to get that snap ring on, but once you get that snap ring going, you kind of hopefully hammer it down and force it in there. So I'm going to get this back together because I want to get this covered up. I've been kind of negligent in covering up that transmission and making sure nothing falls down in there, and then it'll start looking more like a tractor again. So yeah, if you guys are having trouble with the shifter pulling out, odds are this snap ring is your problem. So yeah, I'll take some show a video here of it together. Okay, so there you have it. That went a lot smoother than I thought. To open up those snap rings, I don't know if you guys have them. I got something like these. I got a set off of like Amazon. One's like this, one's where the nose goes 90 degrees. They work okay. Those snap rings, they're such a pain anyway because they're so stiff. But once I got it started, I just took a hammer and just hammered one side down, one side then the other, and so on and so forth. And I didn't even have to compress the spring. The friction from the snap ring was enough to hold it as I kept hammering it down. And last but not least, once I get the gear cover on, give me one second. Alright, once you get this gear cover on, I've got the bolt sitting there now, then you can put your shifter knob on, lock washer, then the shifter knob. And then this will go back on the tractor. I know someone on Facebook the other day had a question. If you look at the underside, so I gotta clean this up yet. But this is your high-low shifter here. If you remember in the transmission area, so towards the right front quadrant, there's a shifter assembly that this sits down in. So yeah, I'm gonna clean this up and get a gasket together and put this back on the tractor. Okay, so you guys can see I got this back on. So you want to make sure your gears work, or it gets in the gears, everything's working right. Your high-low, what I found interesting is it aligns with the low mark. Give me a second, shaky camera. May need to. If you can't get it in a gear, just spin your pulley a little bit. So I don't know if I can from this angle here. So I just moved it a smidge and still won't. I moved it a little bit more. It's almost there. Okay, try two. So here it's in low, and then high, surprisingly, doesn't go over very far compared to the high mark. But anyway, so it goes back and forth, so I know it's in there like it should be. All right, have a good day, everyone. Hopefully you learned something. Let me know if you guys have any questions.